Hello friends, I welcome you all in one more knowledgeable interesting video. Today in this video, we will going to talk about a recent CBDT circular issued on the topic of deduction of TDS in case of new tax regime opted by employees, right? So details of the circular number 4 of 2023 issued on 5th of April 2023, right, by using the powers as mentioned in section 119 of the Income Tax Act 1961, right. CBDT has issued this circular. So what the circular says, the details of the circular are, there are few important points mentioned in the circular. First is that in Finance Act 2023, new tax regime is declared as default tax regime, right? Default means if somebody has not specifically opted for any of the new tax, any of the regime, either old or new, then that employee's TDS will be deducted as per default tax regime, right? So every employer who is required to deduct TDS of the employee for the financial year 23-24, right, shall seek from his employees intended tax regime, that which tax regime employee like to opt for, right? So in this case, employees have two options. One is the new tax regime, which is now declared as default regime, and second option is old tax regime. In this old tax regime, all the deductions as specified under section 80C and other sections like HRA exemption, right, like deductions for home loan, interest and deduction under section 24, and principal repayment deduction under section 80C is available under old tax regime, but these deductions will not be available under new tax regime on the one side, and on the other side the benefit is that the tax rate in the new tax regime in comparison to the old tax regime, it is lower, right? So from one hand, if one benefit is taken away, then from the second hand one benefit is given to the employees, that okay, you're not eligible to claim deductions, exemptions, right? Then we will going to charge low income tax rates from you, right? The tax rate is lower for you, slabs are better, marginal relief is there, right? And one more benefit that goes with new tax regime, that it is simplified. It goes towards simplification, right? It goes towards simplification because income tax act contains huge number of deductions as well as exemptions. So in future we may have only one regime, that is new tax regime, with the lower rates and no deduction exemption available, right? So if for example, if the employee seeks old tax regime, then the benefit of deduction exemption is available to that employee. So the document has to be obtained by the employer from that employee, and TDS will going to be deducted accordingly as per old tax regime, right? If the employee opts for new tax regime, then TDS will deducted as per this new tax regime. Now what in case if employee will not opt anything, employee will remain silent, then this CBDT circular says that then employer have to deduct TDS of that employee according to new tax regime, because this new tax regime is now a default tax regime. If employee do not opt for or do not give intimation of any of the tax regime, right, then it is the duty, it is the responsibility of the employer to deduct TDS as per new tax regime, because now new tax regime is a default tax regime, right? So next is that there is a lot of confusion in the minds of many taxpayers, especially the salaried class, that sir, at the time of making intimation to the employer for TDS deduction, we opted for new tax regime. at the time of making intimation for TDS deduction, we have opted for new tax regime. But now at the time of filing ITR, I want to file it as per old tax regime. Can I do this? Yes, this is very much allowed. If you are a salaried employee, you can do this. You can exercise other option at the time of filing of the ITR. It is allowed to you. You can do this. At the time of filing of ITR, you can opt for any of the regime, whichever is beneficial to you, on which your tax liability is lower in comparison to the other tax regime. If at the time of TDS you opted for new tax regime, either intentionally or by mistake, and at the time of filing of the ITR, you want to opt for the old tax regime, then you can validly, as per provisions of the law, you can opt for it, right? At the time of filing of ITR, you can change the regime. So it is allowed to the taxpayers at the time of filing of the ITR. So this video is all about a latest update relating to CBDT circular recently issued yesterday. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any query relating to TDS, relating to ITR filing, relating to new tax regime, relating to taxation, you can post your query in the comment box. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel, like this video. We will keep coming with a lot of knowledgeable, interesting videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Bye.